on a very interesting topic, proactive employee engagement and communications for improved retention. So, where the moderator is Ms. Nandini Mehta, CHRO, Metro Brands Ltd. Can we have a huge round of applause? And the speakers for the session are Mr. Ankur Shukla, Head HR, Grocery, Store Operations, Reliance Retail Limited. Ms. Farzeen Khan, CHRO, Four Aces Fashion House Private Limited, Being Human Clothing. And last but not the least, we have Mr. Nirav Jagad, CPO, Sugar Cosmetics. So, over to you, Nandini ma'am.
Hi, is everybody here? Hello?
Very, very good afternoon to all of you. I know it's the last session of the event today. And, in fact, the four of us were wondering outside, how do we motivate everyone and keep them awake? Yeah. We'll try our best to do that. So it's a pleasure to moderate this session with such a good panel over here. We have different formats present here. We have Reliance, we have Sugar Cosmetics, we have Being Human. So you're going to hear some different perspectives on the topic for the day. And I come with about 23 years of experience, of which 17 years have been in HR. And I've been an employee. I've been on the other side where we create situations to engage our employees, right? So I've been on both sides of the coin, as we would call it. And this topic is very close to my heart because that's also one of the biggest challenges that we face, communicating the right things to our employees at the right time, and also ensuring we engage them enough so that they continue working for us. So this is what we're going to talk about today. And my first question is going to be to Nirav. So Nirav, you come from the cosmetics business, and what we see in your business is that you have different models, right? You have, and the biggest challenge is your MBOs, where you have, shop and shops, spaces within larger stores, and they have their own culture, and then you have your Sugar Cosmetics culture. So how do you manage to keep your MBO employees engaged?
So I think, and just the interest for everybody to know, there are broadly 3 formats that we have. There's exclusive business outlets, which is EBO, modern trade, which is shop and shop, and there's GT. All 3 have very different kind of talent because the business model is different. GT are typically, your shops which are on the high streets, which are, if anybody goes to say Connaught Place, you'll see those small shops. Those are the kind of counters we have. We have about 40,000 of those. We have about 3,500 beauty advisors who operate in that space. What really defines the kind of talent that we hire in these places are the business models, right? Because the kind of stock, the kind of AOVs that we actually get for each of the bills over there are very different. So the talent differs right from the point of our hiring. So that's number one. The second is that for each of this group, we engage them a little differently because our engagements are driven by our supervisors. So the frequency at which our supervisors interact and engage with them is a little different. Our policies don't change. So policies are fairly standard over there. So there's no difference there. But the way we engage with them through our touch points. And second is how and when we bring them into their head office. So our beauty advisors who are operating in GT, they come into the head office only if they've really hit it out of the park. So every quarter, our top 5 beauty advisors out of 3,500 get opportunity to come to the HO, right? A little more frequently for our MT folks, and even more frequently for our EBO folks. So I think the layering of this engagement is actually driven by the business model that we are operating in. And I think it's important because we see this as a value chain that a GT BA should aspire to go to the MT, and the MT BA should aspire to get to the EBO. So we see this as a upwardly mobile workforce.
Awesome. I think I remember way back I was with the West Side in the operation on the operations side, and we used to have many brands over there. And so I used to be on the other side, and I think it was very important for me to engage with all of them to keep them motivated, being a West Side representative. And it used to be interesting to see how, like you said, the top performers were called to the head office and recognized, so they would come back all excited. So it was an awesome journey there. But I think also one of the takeaways for me there would be that how does the store, the brand in which you operate, also engage the beauty advisors. I think that becomes a very big thing. Thank you for that. Ankur, this is for you. I think Reliance is known for an ocean of brands that you have, which even Venkat mentioned in our panel. And my question to you would be that every brand is unique from a perspective of its offerings, from a perspective of the customer segment that you have. So obviously your hiring, like Nirav, would be different for different formats. And how do you manage to create an ecosystem where you are communicating, the right information at the right time and engaging your employees? And what would be some of the challenges you face if you have to customize something for them?
Good afternoon, everyone. At Reliance Retail, the diversity of formats and brands require customized approach towards employee motivation. Yeah. And because we have a vast workforce which is scattered across various consumer segments, starting from luxury retail to value retail, from fashion and lifestyle stores to value. So each of these have a different requirement, and all our motivation and engagement strategies have been designed to cater to the requirements of the specific brands. Each of our brand has a unique culture and identity, and we promote all our employees, to follow that. So for example, we offer product knowledge, we offer, brand immersion programs, we offer specialized trainings so that our employees feel connected, and also, they feel proud of the specific brand that they are representing. And their success is also aligned with the success of the brand. So for example, I represent grocery. So in grocery, we rolled out few programs which is specific, catering to the culture and identity that we have. So for example, there was this, because we were venturing into these tier 3, tier 4 towns for the first time, and we realized that it was difficult to tap talent in those markets. And people from the bigger markets were not comfortable in working in these markets. What we did was we tapped students from, the third year students who were pursuing their graduation. We touched base with the local colleges, identified people, and while they were pursuing their third year, we offered them to work as a graduate store trainee. We call this program GST. And those people, while pursuing their third year, they were also working in our stores during the weekends, right? So we started this almost 3-4 years back, but in a span of last 3-4 years, it has become, very common now. And whenever we go to towns, there are colleges who are more than willing to associate with us, and there are students who are willing to work with us. So these kind of things really help us, and it helps in people actually looking out to work in specific brands. Also, what we have done with respect to customizing our reward programs. So, for example, we have structured our reward and recognition programs in such a manner that they should be able to cater to the specific requirements of the brands. So, for example, our sales incentive program would be different from what we have in fashion and lifestyle world compared to what we follow in grocery, because of the nature of the customer interactions and also because of the various sales cycles that we follow. Another unique thing that we are offering in brands is in various formats is the cross-format movement. So if an employee joins in one format, he or she has a potential to grow and move into other format as and when they feel like. So that really helps us to motivate employees and gives them a clear-cut understanding of the career path. And if they wish to move into diverse sectors, they are free to do that. So customization is essential. However, in a big company like ours, it has got its own challenges when you have to personalize the engagement strategy. So what we've done is we have embraced technology, and we are using various digital platform tools to ensure that we are able to deliver various training programs and using the various communication channels, taking feedback from people and ensuring that we are able to stay relevant to the expectations of our employees.
Thank you, Ankur. I think, yeah, definitely it's a tough job with, such a ocean of brands that you have, but we see Reliance everywhere, and of course we know, of course there are pros and cons to everything, but I think people talk very highly about the brands that they work in with respect to Reliance. So thank you for that. Farzeen, being human, I think as a concept evolved from a philanthropic thought, right? And how do you capitalize on that philanthropic thought of being human to keep your employees engaged and retain them?
So hi, good afternoon everyone. Are you all with us? Great. Thank you so much, guys. I know this is the last session. But yes, you know what we say, इंसान तो हर कोई बन जाता है क्या? नहीं. So what we say is that being human is a choice which people make when they join our organization. And we say that very proudly is because that's the ethos of the brand. When we say it's the ethos of the brand, it means that today's generation, whether you talk about the millennials or the Gen Z or the baby boomers, they all come back and say, what are we doing today to give it back to the society? So we say, yes, a brand is with a purpose to give it back to the society. So yes, people do contribute, an organization do contribute to the CSR post, the CSR norms in the early 2000s were there, and 2% of the amount should go to the needy. And here what we do is, at every POS, whenever our merchandise is sold, one part of it goes to the community, which can benefit either for healthcare or education. I think we proudly say that, and we've been doing that for the last so many years. Yes, the philanthropic approach gives us that bit which you don't have to play much, which talks about sustainability. And if I have to give some examples in terms of the revamping of our price tags, we have now price tags with the seeds of sunflower and tulsi and all these plants, where you can actually just not discard it but plant it. So that's again going back to the ESG. What we've typically done, and the model at which we run, of course, we do have our EBOs and LFRs in place, and the big GT trade which we have today. Engaging all of them is the prime motive for everybody. Is they're all looking at that one particular goal, which means that itna dhanda, itna profit, itna dena hai back to the society. So that means we've done our bit. And plus what we do is lot of our employee engagement activities, what we do, we've intertwined it with employee volunteering activities. And that could be a skill-based volunteering, that could be a physical volunteering, or that could also be as simple as just going and visiting an old age home, where you feel that you are confined to that set of people, and then you just be there to listen to what they have to say and what you have to say them. So all our engagement activities, we've intertwined with that. In fact, we've built policies around it, and a lot of R&R around it in terms of rewarding the people who help do that. And most importantly, every employee of ours, for that matter, whether it is from the president to the peon, we own a property, which we proudly say during the Bhai Ka birthday celebration which we do. So our brand is, of course, Salman Khan brand, and that 4 days in the month of December. So his birthday is on 27th of December every year, and between 25th to the 28th, we have a 50% sale going on in the stores. Balance 50% is contributed by Salman, and then that goes to the needy. So right from the president to the peon is there in the store and managing the people there as well as the sales there. So I have learned how to do billing standing behind the cash counter, and then we all are there helping the people, because of them is what we earn our salaries. I think what we do is we rather do walking than the talking, and actually that's kind of helped us. And of course, going back to the approach in terms of what's in it for me is various angles other than compensation, career growth, moving people internally. Now we are expanding into new business verticals, which is into consumer care and footwear. So there are a lot of CDPs which we have done for people moving from apparel to that. Why? Because we don't believe that get people from outside who can sell footwear. Why can't these guys do that? So there's a lot of cross-functional trainings, and I think that's actually helped us.
Amazing. I think you can further bank on the fact that so much of contribution goes to the society, and I'm sure employees will be super excited that they're contributing to it. I will reverse this now again. So again, the question goes to you, Farzeen. You do operate on franchise models, right? And franchise partners have their own way of driving the business. So how do you ensure that your franchise partners work with you in terms of ensuring the employees drive the culture of being human within the franchise stores, and the partners are also in line with that?
So, when the business team is out in the market to look out for a franchise, there are two mandates given to them. Of course, the margin, which is there, which you cannot go beyond it or below it. And the second part is that, we proudly say each of our store, whether it's a franchise store or whether it is our own COCO store, we have a specially abled staff there. So right from that moment when the store actually begins, first person to get hired is a special person and then the store manager. So now the special person could be having any special ability which he or she would contribute, but that's the ethos we build it at the time when we sign the agreement with them. And in terms of all our policies and processes, while yes, some of the franchise we kind of have people who are on their payroll, but I think what we own from them is the loyalty, and they're really happy about it. And the proof of the pudding is that when we did place to work survey, we had included everybody, even the franchise piece, and we are at a trust index of 89%, with a fairness to work at 88%.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we are proud of.
Great. Ankur, question to you. One of the biggest challenges in retail is, leadership for the women, growing leaders within the, female community, as we would call. So is there anything that you would want to talk about on how do we, engage women employees more? How do we show them a career path and have more store managers, area managers across our stores?
So Nandini, if you'd asked me this question 3 years back, I would have really struggled to respond to this. However, a couple of programs that we rolled out 3 years back, did the trick for us. So what we were also experiencing 3 years back was that, 70% of the customers coming to our stores were lady customers. And also, the population mix at the store was okay because we had 37 to 38% lady associates. However, the managerial numbers, the lady managers numbers, those were not very encouraging. So that is when we rolled out a couple of programs. To start with, we rolled out a Jagriti program, which was to encourage women leadership at stores. So, so it was not easy to start with because obviously it was difficult to convince our operators to accept the idea of our women associates leading those stores. Also, there was an issue with the lady associates themselves because most of them had issues, they had a lot of issues. One, they had a mental barrier that, timings was an issue. They felt that they did not have the system knowledge. They were pressure from the family that, you'll be working late hours. That was again a concern. And so all this, put together, we initially faced issues. So what we did was, we rolled out this program, which was a 6 months program. And we started by identifying some of our women managers as role models, as brand ambassadors, who took the lead and who started taking sessions of all the lady associates who were identified and who were identified as potential candidates. So we started this 6 months program, which had classroom session, which had sensitization workshops, which had on-the-job training, and then finally a certification. So we started in Mumbai and piloted that program in Mumbai, and then basis the response that we got, we then rolled it out across the country. And I'm happy to share that in the last 4 years, we have been able to promote almost 1,500 lady associates. They are working as department managers, as assistant store managers, and the total count of our women managers as on date, only in grocery stores, is 2,000. Plus the same model is replicated across all the formats, and it is giving very, very encouraging results.
That's amazing. I think I've been on so many panels. I've had quite a lot of discussions with many HR heads, but I've not got such a clear and clean with numbers answer. So thank you for that. I think that's amazing work. My last question is to you, Nirav, and then we'll open questions to the audience. I think what I have seen is cosmetics industry is one where probably the entire LGBTQ population hiring has started off big time. I've seen many of the stores having the LGBTQ working there. So I wanted to understand from you, is it challenging, or has it helped other employees when you hire LGBTQs in your counters, and what has been the impact of this whole initiative?
Okay. I'm going to pose a little different response to this, and I would request the audience to just bear with this answer, saying that when you tell somebody that you're different is when you make them feel that they're different. I don't make any policy change. I will select them on basis of their merit. I will grow them on their merit. I will promote them on their merit. That's it. We do not differentiate what's your sexual preference, where do you come from, what's your color, what's your religion. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you bringing your full self to work? Are you coming in to grow professionally and create a conducive environment for yourself and others? Are you impacting the business the way you can to your full potential? That's it. So what we have done is that our conversation has always revolved around having openness over accepting everybody coming in for a job, right? So this whole thing that, I get called for a lot of DEI conversation given the brand that I am at, and I don't go to those, right? Because this whole idea saying that I want to keep a percentage for women, I want to keep a percentage for people who identify themselves as certain. I said we should, one sec, sir जी, या तो आप बात करिए या मैं बात करूं. मैं वो बोल रहा हूँ, या तो आप बात करिए या मैं बात करूं. रूम छोटा है ना, तो पता नहीं चल रहा है आप बोल रहे हो या मैं बोल रहा हूँ. So the thing is that we have to get out of this, and this is a cumulative responsibility. This is the responsibility of everybody sitting in this room and everybody who has been part of this forum, anyone outside, that we have to stop this saying that you are LGBTQ, so I'm going to give you a percentage. Why? I don't come across any woman friend, any woman colleague, any woman professional who says, I am happy to get a quota. I've not come across anybody. Why would I want to patronize LGBTQ? Bhai, aapki preference, you have a certain preference, great. It's a personal choice. Why should I make it my responsibility to authenticate that? Who am I? Who's given me that right to give you that acceptance? Right? So by creating policies around this, for no reason, I'm putting myself on a pedestal saying that I have created a policy for you to make you feel special, and I've not even asked you whether you want it or not. It's crazy. So that's why I don't go to DI. I think it's a farce.
I think what you're saying is absolutely right. Why do we differentiate? Why do we judge people? Having said that, Nirav, you know, that's your thought and probably a few people's thought.
Sorry to cut you, but you know, honestly, I've had 2 organizations where I've done this. Nika, I think we had a large population who called themselves having various choices in life. And even at Sugar, not once do I allow anybody to ask that question. And if that question is asked, I'm the first one to come down heavily on them. Right? Because see, again, these are the small things that you have got to do. While again, as I say, that I am saying this is my stand, and I will do it right. But when you ask me, I say this is what I have done. And I feel that as professionals who sit in a position where you have the opportunity to influence thinking, we should do that, right? If it's detrimental, I'm happy to be corrected, but I'm not heard otherwise so far, right? So if anybody comes and says, "Nee, yaar, what you're doing is wrong, please correct it," I'm happy to debate that.
So again, sorry, my point to you is, yes, you know, I think that's the best way to handle it, that don't differentiate, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, etc., right? So my point to you is, while that's how you may look at it, but when a person is working in the store, they would face a lot of challenges there. So how do you mitigate the challenges for them?
Agreed. See, there are 2 things. One is the controllable and the other is uncontrollable. Let me give an example. If somebody is standing in a shop, while my BA who's there with that BA, and my BA is trained and coached and guided how to engage with them, there could be other BAs who are not, and who could have a very different view of them, right? And they might turn around and make some remarks or something, which could be on the borderline of offensive, right? So in that case, we do step in, our BAs step in and taper down the situation. And they have also had conversation with those BAs and the floor managers to engage with them in on conversations, right? And almost 90-95% of the times they're able to solve it. In very rare situations, it comes up to us and my people partner goes and engages with them and solves it. So I agree what you're saying, right? Because see, as you say, it's not a crusade, but the point is practically everybody may not necessarily think like this. And there could be people who could have a very contrary view to what I'm saying. And I'm not saying my view is the world view, but the point is that I will train, coach, engage people enough to have that point of view and have a discussion so that there is a solution to be had.
Absolutely. I think that's the answer. I was also expecting, where we do a lot of sensitization, but certain things are still out of our control.
Agreed. And I would like to double down on that and tell you that this is not a program, right? I mean, it's not a session that you will do and say that, हाँ चलो हमने आपको sensitize करा लिया, अब sensitive हो गए, चलो काम कर लो. It's not a Saridon. It's not a Dolo. Right? You have to do it. It's painful. You have to do it day in and day out, because we are talking about fundamentally changing the way people view this, right? So it's constant. It's every day. It's like your second nature. That's all.
Absolutely. I agree with you totally. And I love the passion with which you spoke. And I think if everybody thinks the way you think, the world will be a different place, at least as far as letting people be in their own space, irrespective of whether it's LGBTQ, be it anything else. So I think that's the way one should be thinking. So thank you for that. Questions open to the audience. If you have anything for our panel here that you would like to know on engagement, communication, anything else that you would like to ask us. Nothing at all?
बस हमको जाने दो.
नहीं, हमने वैसे भी पकड़ के नहीं रखा है किसी को.
All of them have very blank face.
Maybe in the offices, there are a lot of people who say that, do some employee engagement activity, we want to do something in terms of festive or in terms of Fridays or whatever. But then when we actually do it, people don't participate. So what are your thoughts, or maybe what are your experiences to, grab them together and do the engagement?
KRA में डाल दो. एक साल के 3 एक्टिवेशन करेंगे, तीनों में आपकी अटेंडेंस होनी है, नहीं हो तो KRA का आपको इंक्रीमेंट नहीं मिलेगा, खत्म हो गया. No, jokes aside. Any solutions from people who have been able to shackle
I feel
people?
that if a program is exciting enough, I'm sure people will participate. I mean, it happens at times that some of these programs become monotonous, and our business people, they are tied up with so many things. So it is possible that at times, but yes, we have at the same time we have seen that when you roll out some programs which are of their interest, and basically we ask them. So normally in such cases we take representation from all functions, check with them in terms of what would excite, and accordingly then we roll out programs. In some cases, yes, we do see that less participation there, but in most of the cases we see employees participating.
What I can add here is, the pulse check of people and the mood which they are at that particular moment of time. When you're at the start of the month, the pressure is a little least because targets हो गए, माल डंप करना है तो डंप कर दिया है, बेचना है तो बेच दिया है, बाद में सोचेंगे 15 दिन बाद. So I'm saying timing also plays an important role, and more importantly, it's the pulse check in terms of what Ankur mentioned is what they want, and then you see the full participation. It's not necessary that you have your entire AOP calendar which is being designed that you execute that. There may be some tweaks which you will have to do as per the time and the energy level of people, and then it really works. I'm really I keep saying that engagement doesn't mean only your Holi and Diwali, but it's much beyond it. And when people are engaged, they will themselves come and say, okay, this is not working, and let's do something else. So, and we've seen that. I think that's the proof of the pudding. So try that.
छोटा सा rebranding कर लो आप. Engagement मत बोलो, celebration बोल दो उसको. I think it's a big difference, right? I mean, engagement is a far deeper concept, a far deeper subject matter. So let's not trivialize it by saying that मुझे engagement activity करनी है, चलो fun Friday करते हैं. I think we just trivialize our own role when we say that. So let's not do that. As responsible HR and people in culture professionals, we need to be careful about the language that we choose. So maybe from here on, you should use the word celebrate and celebrations than saying let's do an engagement activity.
Yeah, and maybe just to add to what Nirav said, I think the concept of engagement is much larger, and what you're talking about, I would say, is fun at work or celebration, whatever you'd like to call it. And irrespective of which time of the month you choose, you will always have some people who are actively participating and some who don't. And that's a mindset. Irrespective of how you position it, irrespective of getting the buy-in of all your business guys, you will always have a mix of people who would come, who may not come. You will always have a group of people who participate in every activity you do, and there will be a handful of people who will never participate in any. And I think sometimes if you really want everybody to participate, then the effort is to go talk to them and find out why they aren't participating, or just leave it. As far as your house is full, you have enough people, at least let's say 70-75% of the people are participating, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the remaining, because you'll always have a mix of people. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes. Yeah.
On the similar lines,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask that you spoke about having a buy-in of the management when you're doing such kind of activities. So activities where it's clearly not quantifiable, but you're sure that it's going to boost the morale or ease up a tense situation in the office, and you really want to conduct it. In such situations, what's your suggestion, and how should we as probably young HR professionals get buy-in from the business on such things?
Cool. You want somebody specific to answer this, or general? Nandini, what do you say? Who wants?
So I think buy-in from the management or from the business is something that doesn't happen ad hoc. I think as HR professionals, it's important for us to put our strategy in place aligned to the organization goals in the beginning of the year, right? So normally what we do is we plan whatever we are doing, our entire calendar, be it to do with any strategy related things, any hiring related, any org design related things, any engagement related things. I think we plan that in the beginning of the year. And that has to be aligned with what are the goals of the business, right? And a part of it could be fun at work, right? The idea at work is that people are so stressed at work, right? They're working from, so of course, in a place like Mumbai, people are working 9 hours, but they travel 4 to 5 hours, right? So they're spending almost 12, 13 hours at work from that perspective, right? They leave home, I was just telling someone, they leave home at 7:30 in the morning, and they're reaching back at about 9:30 in the evening. So the whole idea is for the management to understand that it is stressful. And to make it light, we need to do something that can break that monotony for them. And that's where the fun at work comes in place, right? The fun at work could be something around having some games for them to play for 5-10 minutes in the office, as in, board games. Or it could be birthday celebrations once a month. It could be some appreciation day for people, whatever it could be. But I don't think if it's part of a larger strategy of HR, which is planned in the beginning of the year, you wouldn't get the buy-in from the management. So that's how I would look at it. Anyone wants to add something, you can do that.
Quick thing, your fun should not be painful on them. हाँ, ऐसा नहीं कि ऑफिस आवर्स के बाद फन करेंगे, आप घर पे ना 11-12 बजे पहुंचना. It's ridiculous. मतलब, see, if you really want to think about your people, do it at work hours. No, I mean, see, if you really have the equity with your management, you should be able to convince them that we should be doing at the work hours. Don't do it at people's personal time, right? Number one. Second is that I think as a function, we should start walking away from this whole idea कि हम करेंगे लेकिन पता नहीं impact क्या है. Dude, I mean, this is not an answer. Everything that you do has to be quantifiable. And you have to work towards getting the quantifiables presented back to the people who are approving the budget. Right? Because feel good itself is not a measure, no? How do you think people liked? I think they liked a lot. That's not an answer. Right? So I think when we do all of these things, everything has to tie into a strategy. So please get that approved at the beginning. आपका जब AOP और मैडम कहो आप सुन रहे हो ना, हाँ, तो आप खड़े हो जाएंगे तो मुझे पता चले that I have an eye contact with you or I can stand. I'm okay with it. No, that's okay. So see, the thing is, when you do your AOP, at the AOP stage itself, you define what's an engagement budget. In that engagement budget, you need to really drill down the activities. इंडिया में बहुत सारे फेस्टिवल्स हैं, आप वो कैलेंडर में डाल के उसका पैसा बता दो कितना होने वाला है. आपको ऊपर से 2-3 चाहिए वो भी डाल दो, बोल दो कि पिछले हमने ये किया तो उस पर मैं 30% इन्फ्लेशन डालती हूँ तो हो जाएगा. 30% इन्फ्लेशन चलेगा ना? तो सुन नहीं रहे हो आप.
In fact, Nirav, to add to that, maybe one thing that I would like to give as an example, in my earlier organization, we used to do a lot of, quite a big, like for example, the Retail Employees Day celebration at Max used to be a big event. Agreed. And similarly, we used to have a, awards night for them where all the employees would come together in the region. And we have actually calculated the impact of that on the business post the activity, and it has been amazingly high. The business has really gone up and people are so motivated because none of the other brands used to do these activities, right? So they were all very proud that, we are getting to, go on the stage, we are able to showcase our talent, we are able to, we are getting appreciated. And the impact of that on the sale used to be amazingly high. So just to let you know that it is, certain things can be quantifiable. Of course, not everything, but tie it up to the strategy.
Yeah, try and do that. And maybe you can implement PDCI, which is plan, do, check, improve. So every initiative, you should have like a feedback loop and you should try to get about 60-70% response. And from there, you know that what you did right, what you did wrong. So that you know whether what you're hitting out on the wall is sticking to the wall or not. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि आपने कर लिया ओनम में सबको सादिया दे दिया लेकिन आधी पब्लिक बोल रही है यार मजा ही नहीं आया खाने में. Right? You understand what I'm saying, right? So, I mean, we may do it with all intent, but it's important that we have to be realistic that everything that we put out on the universe may not necessarily stick in the universe. So, we need to edit it the next time around. और 20 इवेंट ना साल में आराम से कर पाओगे आप, आराम से हो जाता है, लेकिन बजट होना चाहिए. So you are laughing a lot. Everything okay? Is the lady next to you tickling you or something? Any other? I know. आई नो पब्लिक जैसे बैग लेके रेडी है, जैसा इवेंट खत्म हो भाग रहे. हाँ, स्ट्रेस ऑफ गेटिंग द बस. अरे 7:12 की ट्रेन छूट जाएगी, कब खत्म होगा ये टाइप्स, राइट?
But I think very often, because we pressurize the managers, people are not coming for our activities, managers pressurize the employees, and the employees come with a big face to the event and they don't enjoy it. So please avoid that. Don't force anyone.
I think get the manager ka manager first.
Great. Anyone has anything else to say, ask? Thank you so much for patiently being with us and appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nirav,
Thank you,
Farzeen and Ankur too. Thank you so much.